Close your eyes for a moment, not to escape the world, but to return to it correctly. Because everything you seek, everything you call a desire, everything you name as not yet, is already alive within you. The only thing standing between you and its expression is effort. And effort is not power. Effort is resistance disguised as discipline. You have been taught that to gain something, you must struggle for it. That to receive, you must strain. That to change life, you must wrestle with it. But creation does not respond to force. Creation responds to assumption, and assumption is effortless when you are relaxed. When the mind relaxes, it stops arguing with reality. When the body relaxes, it stops sending the signal of lack. And when you relax inwardly, life has no choice but to rearrange itself to reflect that inner peace as fulfillment. Relaxation is not laziness. Relaxation is confidence. It is the quiet knowing that what you desire is not outside of you trying to be chased, but within you waiting to be accepted. The moment you stop trying to make it happen, it begins to happen. The moment you stop watching the clock, time bends. The moment you stop asking how, the way reveals itself. Think of the times in your life when things came effortlessly. You were not tense. You were not desperate. You were not checking every second to see if it worked. You were relaxed. And in that relaxation, you were open. Life flowed toward you without resistance. Desire is not a request. Desire is a revelation. It appears in you because it already belongs to you. Nothing enters your awareness that is not already possible. Nothing is felt unless it is already prepared to be expressed. The seed of desire is evidence of its fulfillment, not proof of its absence. But what do? We tense around it. We grip it with fear. We say, I want this, but what if I don't get it? And that question alone keeps it away. Not because life is cruel, but because consciousness must reflect the state you occupy. And a tense state says, it is not here yet. A relaxed state says, it is done. You do not manifest by effort. You manifest by permission. You permit something by feeling safe having it. And safety is relaxation. Watch a child who knows they will receive something. They do not beg. They do not calculate. They do not obsess. They simply expect. An expectation without tension is faith, not loud faith, not emotional faith, quiet faith, the kind that rests. The mind that is relaxed assumes fulfillment as natural. The mind that is strained assumes delay. Life obeys the assumption, not the desire. You see, desire alone does nothing. Desire with tension creates longing. Desire with relaxation creates realization. So the question is not, what do I need to do to manifest? The real question is, what do I need to stop doing? And the answer is always the same. Stop forcing, stop checking, stop fighting the present moment. Because the present moment is not your enemy. It is the doorway. And relaxation is the key that opens it. When you sit quietly and imagine the fulfillment of your desire, not as a future event, but as a present fact, you will notice something subtle. The body softens, the breath slows, the mind stops racing. That is not imagination working. That is alignment happening. The moment you feel relief, you have touched the state where manifestation occurs. Relief is the signal that you have dropped resistance. Relief is the body's agreement with the mind's assumption. Do not chase excitement. Excitement fades. Chase relief. Relief stabilizes. Relief says, I no longer need proof. And life responds instantly to that declaration, even if the outer world takes a moment to catch up. Time is not your problem. Belief is not your problem. Relaxation is the bridge you have been missing. Most people attempt to change life while remaining internally unchanged. They want new results while maintaining old tension. But life is a mirror, not a servant. It reflects your inner posture, not your wishes. If you sit tense, life appears rigid. If you relax, life becomes fluid. Doors open, conversations align, opportunities arise naturally without planning. not because you forced them, but because you stopped blocking them. You were never meant to push reality. You were meant to allow it. Consider this deeply. Nothing real requires effort to be sustained. The sun does not struggle to shine. The heart does not strain to beat. Your breathing does not require conscious force. Why then would your desires require struggle? The moment something feels heavy, it is a sign you are trying to carry what was meant to flow. Relaxation is not doing nothing. Relaxation is doing the right thing internally, occupying the state of fulfillment without mental resistance. When you imagine from the fulfilled desire, not of it, you are relaxed. You are not hoping, you are experiencing. And experience convinces the subconscious instantly, because the subconscious does not reason, it accepts. But imagination only works when it feels natural, and nothing feels natural when you are tense. So before you imagine, relax. Before you affirm, relax. Before you think about your desire, relax. Relax the jaw, relax the shoulders, relax the breath. And then let the idea of fulfillment drift into your awareness like a memory, not a goal. Do not try to visualize clearly. Clarity is not required. Feeling is not even required. Acceptance is required. A simple inner nod that says, yes, this is mine, and then stop. Do not repeat compulsively. Do not monitor results. Do not look for signs. Signs follow, they do not precede. The moment you look for proof, you imply absence, and absence is what reflects. Relaxation is trust without effort. You trust gravity without thinking about it. You trust that when you sleep, you will wake up. You trust that your heart will beat. You do not affirm these things all day. You rest in them, and because you rest in them, they remain true. Your desires require the same treatment. Treat them as inevitable, not urgent, not fragile. Inevitable, and inevitability feels calm. The reason many people fail is not because they lack belief, but because they refuse to let go of tension. They enjoy effort because effort feels like control. But control is not creation. Assumption is. When you relax, you release the need to control the how. And the moment you release the how, intelligence greater than your conscious mind takes over. Paths you could never plan unfold. Timing aligns perfectly. People play their roles effortlessly. You were never meant to micromanage life. You were meant to select a state and remain there. And the easiest state to remain in is relaxation. Think of relaxation as the atmosphere in which your desire breathes. Tension suffocates it, calm nourishes it. If you say, I am relaxed because it is done, the body listens. If you say, I will relax when it happens, you remain tense forever. Do not wait for the manifestation to relax. Relax to allow the manifestation. Life does not respond to words, it responds to states, and the state of relaxation implies fulfillment. This is why those who give up often receive suddenly. They did not give up desire. They gave up resistance. They stopped caring in the wrong way and started trusting in the right way. Indifference is not detachment. Calm expectancy is detachment. Knowing without effort. When you know something is yours, you do not chase it, you prepare for it naturally. You make room, you adjust without panic, and preparation feels peaceful, not frantic. Your inner world is the cause, your outer world is the effect. Relax the cause and the effect harmonizes. You do not need to convince anyone. You do not need to fight circumstances. You do not need to change conditions. Conditions are shadows, states are substance. Change the state by relaxing into fulfillment, and the shadows must move. Even now, as you read this, notice what happens when you stop trying to understand intellectually and simply let the words wash over you. There is a softening, a slowing. That is the state where transformation occurs. Truth does not shout. Truth soothes. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not blocked. You are simply tense, and tension can be released in an instant. Right now, you can choose to rest in the assumption that what you desire is already arranged. Not emotionally, not dramatically. Quietly, say inwardly, it is settled. And feel the relief of not having to fix anything. That relief is power. Remain there, not by effort, but by preference. When the mind wanders, gently return, not with force, with kindness. Do not punish yourself for doubt. Doubt is only tension returning. Relax again. Every time you relax, you return to alignment faster, and alignment does not need time. It only needs acceptance. The outer world may lag, but it cannot resist forever. It must echo the inner state you sustain, and the easiest state to sustain is the one that feels like rest. Relax, and you will manifest, not because you tried harder, but because you finally stopped interfering. Relax, and life will surprise you. Not with struggle, but with simplicity. Relax, and you will discover that everything you were chasing was waiting for you to sit down and allow it to arrive. When you understand this deeply, you stop measuring progress by outer movement and start recognizing inner stillness as the true sign that things are working. The calmer you become about a desire, the closer it is to appearing. Anxiety is distance. Peace is proximity. Notice how the mind tries to interfere the moment relaxation begins. It whispers, but what if it doesn't happen? That whisper is not intuition, it is habit. The mind has been trained to survive through worry, not to create through trust. So when you relax, it feels unfamiliar, even unsafe. But unfamiliar does not mean wrong. It means new. Creation happens in unfamiliar territory. The old self survives, the new self allows. You do not need to fight those thoughts. Fighting creates tension. Simply return to the body, return to the breath, return to the feeling of being supported by life. Let the thought pass like a cloud. Clouds do not stop the sky from being the sky. The more you practice relaxing into assumption, the more natural it becomes. What once felt forced becomes obvious. What once felt impossible becomes ordinary. And this is how manifestation truly works, not as a dramatic event, but as a quiet normalization of what you once called a dream. You are not meant to feel amazed forever. You are meant to feel at home. The fulfilled desire does not shout, "Look what happened." It says, "Of course." And that "of course" is the tone of relaxation. Most people stay tense because they are emotionally attached to outcomes. They believe if they relax, they will lose motivation. But relaxation does not remove desire, it removes desperation. And desperation is not motivation, it is fear pretending to be effort. True motivation is calm. It moves without friction. It does not exhaust you. It does not need constant reassurance. When you relax, you move from wanting to expecting, and expectation is creative authority. You begin to think differently without trying. Your reactions soften, your choices align. You say the right thing at the right time without rehearsing. These are not coincidences, these are signs of inner order. Outer chaos always reflects inner tension. Outer harmony reflects inner ease. If you want to know whether you are manifesting correctly, do not ask how long it is taking. Ask how relaxed you are about it. The answer tells you everything. The subconscious mind accepts what feels normal, and normal is created through repetition without strain. This is why a relaxed assumption repeated gently has more power than intense affirmations shouted through fear. Whispered certainty is stronger than screamed hope. You do not need to impress the universe. You are not negotiating. You are selecting. Every moment you are selecting a state. And the state you occupy consistently becomes the story your life tells. Relaxation is a decision, not a reward. You do not earn peace after success. You choose peace, and success follows as a side effect. Once this clicks, you stop postponing happiness. You stop saying, "I will feel calm when it happens." You understand that calm is the cause, not the consequence. And when calm becomes your default, desires lose their emotional charge. They feel lighter. They feel closer. They feel inevitable. Inevitable things do not need chasing. You may notice that when you truly relax, some desires fall away, not because you failed, but because you outgrew them. Relaxation reveals what was driven by fear and what was born of truth. What remains after relaxation is always aligned. Life does not test you, it reflects you. If you find yourself reacting emotionally to circumstances, it is simply showing you where you are tense. And tension is an invitation, not to fix the world, but to soften within. Each time you choose relaxation over reaction, you shift states, and states shift outcomes effortlessly. You are not required to monitor this process. Monitoring creates pressure. Pressure creates delay. Trust works best when unnoticed. Even sleep is a form of manifestation. You surrender consciousness and wake up renewed. You do not stay awake to ensure morning arrives. You let go, and morning comes without fail. Treat your desires the same way. Fall asleep to them inwardly. Let go of watchfulness. Let the deeper intelligence operate. The moment you stop asking, "Is it working?" it begins working smoothly. The mind wants guarantees. Life wants alignment. Relaxation is alignment without argument. As you continue living from this understanding, you will notice that people respond differently to you. Circumstances soften. Resistance dissolves. Not because you demanded change, but because your inner posture invited cooperation. Life mirrors tone, not words. A relaxed tone says, "I am safe," and safety is magnetic. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are comfortable with. And comfort is relaxation. Make peace with the present moment, not as a compromise, but as a recognition that this moment is the bridge, not the barrier. When you stop trying to escape now, now transforms, and transformation does not announce itself loudly. It unfolds quietly, steadily, faithfully, responding to the calm certainty you have finally allowed yourself to feel. As this calm certainty settles in, you begin to notice something important. Life no longer feels like a problem to solve. It feels like a conversation you are finally listening to, instead of interrupting. And the language life speaks is subtle. It speaks through ease, through timing, through inner nudges that arrive without pressure. Pressure has always been the signal that you were trying to outrun yourself. When you relax, you come back into rhythm. You stop moving ahead of your own consciousness. You stop demanding results before the state has stabilized. And once a state stabilizes, expression is automatic. This is why impatience delays everything. Impatience is the refusal to let the state settle. It is digging up the seed to check if it has grown. Relaxation trusts the unseen process. You do not need to hold an image all day. You do not need to repeat phrases endlessly. Those are substitutes people use when they do not trust themselves. Trust removes the need for repetition. Once assumed, the state carries itself. A relaxed assumption does not argue with opposing appearances. It does not panic when circumstances contradict it. It understands that effects lag behind causes, and it remains unmoved. Unmoved does not mean indifferent, it means anchored. When you are anchored in the feeling of "this is handled," reactions lose their power over you. Emotional swings calm down. The highs become grounded, the lows become brief. Balance returns. And balance is creative stability. Most manifestations fail not because the desire was wrong, but because the state was unstable. People oscillate between faith and fear, hope and doubt, confidence and panic. Relaxation ends oscillation. It chooses one tone and stays there. Staying does not require effort. Effort belongs to instability. Staying belongs to acceptance. If you catch yourself trying to get back into the state, pause. That trying is tension. Instead, ask yourself, "What would I feel if this were already settled?" Then let the answer arise naturally. It will not be excitement. It will not be intensity. It will be calm. Calm is the fingerprint of truth. You were never meant to feel emotionally charged forever. Fulfillment is quiet. It integrates into your identity until you forget it was ever absent. This is why people who manifest effortlessly often appear ordinary. They are not emotionally invested in proving anything. They are not performing belief. They are imply living from it. Performance is strain. Being is rest. When you rest in a state, it deepens. When it deepens, it hardens into fact. You may wonder at times if you are doing enough. That question itself reveals tension. Enough is not measured by action, but by inner ease. When the state feels natural, you have done enough. If it still feels fragile, relax further. Relaxation is not a one-time act. It is a returning. Each time you notice tension, you return, gently. Without judgment, judgment tightens the mind. Acceptance loosens it. Nothing delays manifestation more than self-criticism. The moment you judge yourself for doubt, you double the tension. Instead, treat doubt like a passing sensation. It has no authority unless you give it attention. Attention is creative currency. Spend it wisely. When attention rests on fulfillment, it grows. When attention rests on lack, it persists. Relaxation naturally redirects attention because it removes urgency. Urgency is always rooted in fear of loss, but what is already yours cannot be lost. You do not protect what you own by gripping it. You protect it by knowing it is secure. Security is an inner agreement. Once you agree internally that something is secure, you stop guarding it mentally. And the moment you stop guarding, you stop signaling insecurity. Life responds to signals, not statements. Your nervous system is always broadcasting your state. A relaxed system broadcasts trust, and trust is the language through which reality reorganizes itself. When the nervous system is calm, it sends a clear message: there is no emergency, nothing is missing, nothing needs to be chased. And reality, being obedient, echoes T-hat message back as stability, flow, and arrival. This is why relaxation is not a technique but a way of being. Techniques come and go, but being remains. You may use imagination one day, silence the next, simple awareness another time. What matters is not the method but the mood. And the mood that creates is always ease. Ease is the absence of inner opposition. The moment you stop opposing what is, you stop reinforcing it. Resistance feeds persistence. Acceptance dissolves delay. This is not philosophical, it is practical. Life hardens around the attitudes you rehearse most often. If you rehearse tension, life becomes a rehearsal for struggle. If you rehearse calm, life becomes cooperative. You are not meant to overpower reality. You are meant to outgrow the need to. Notice how often the mind tries to return to effort. It asks, shouldn't I be doing something? That question itself is the echo of conditioning. You were trained to equate worth with strain, so rest feels undeserved. But creation does not ask for worthiness. It asks for alignment. Alignment feels like relief. Relief is the moment you stop trying to earn what was never withheld. Nothing in life is responding to your moral value or your hard work. It is responding to your inner acceptance of a state. And acceptance is easiest when you are relaxed. This is why forcing positivity never works. Forced positivity is still tension. It is denial wearing a smile. True alignment does not deny what you feel, it's often it. When you soften, you open. Opening is allowing life to enter without conditions. You do not need to convince yourself aggressively that something is yours. Convincing implies doubt. Instead, let the ideas settle quietly, like furniture placed gently in a room. No announcement, no effort. Over time, you forget it was ever moved. That forgetting is not neglect. It is integration. Integrated states manifest because they are no longer questioned. The mind questions what feels foreign. It stops questioning what feels normal. So your task is not to believe harder, but to normalize fulfillment. Normalization happens through calm repetition and emotional neutrality. When you imagine fulfillment without excitement or anxiety, you are doing it correctly. Neutrality is powerful because it signals completion. Drama belongs to desire. Calm belongs to possession. Possession is quiet. This is why impatience fades as relaxation deepens. You no longer need reassurance. You no longer seek confirmation. You simply live, and living from a state is what brings it into form. If you observe your life closely, you will see that the things you have now arrived when you stopped obsessing over them. Not when you gave up hope, but when you stopped straining hope. Strain blocks flow. Relaxation opens channels. Life is always moving toward expression. You do not push a river. You remove the dam. The dam is tension. When tension dissolves, movement resumes. This movement may appear gradual or sudden, but it is always precise. Nothing arrives randomly. Everything arrives in response to an inner shift that already occurred. Often, the outer event feels anticlimactic. You think that's it? Because inwardly, it already happened. The world is just catching up. This is the natural order. If you truly understood how little effort is required, you would stop exhausting yourself mentally. You would treat your desires with the same casual certainty you treat tomorrow morning. You do not wake up anxious about whether the sun will rise. You plan your day assuming it will. That assumption is relaxed certainty. Apply the same tone inwardly. Tone is more important than words. You can say the right words with the wrong tone and create nothing. Or you can say nothing with the right tone and allow everything. Relaxation is the right tone. It says, without speaking, I trust life to respond to me because I am no longer resisting myself. And as resistance fades, you find that manifestation is not something you do occasionally, but something that is always happening, shaped quietly and consistently by the degree of ease you allow yourself to live in. So understand this clearly and let it settle deep within you. You were never meant to struggle your way into fulfillment. Nothing real responds to tension. Nothing lasting is born from anxiety. The power you have been searching for is not in effort, repetition, or force. It is in relaxation. When you relax, you stop telling life that something is missing. When you relax, you stop arguing with the present moment. When you relax, you step into the only state from which creation flows naturally. Calm is not weakness. Calm is certainty without noise. You do not manifest by chasing outcomes. You manifest by becoming inwardly settled, by accepting fulfillment before the world confirms it, by resting in the quiet, knowing that what is yours does not need to be hunted. The moment you release urgency, you release resistance. And the moment resistance dissolves, reality has no choice but to reorganize itself in your favor. Stop waiting for proof. Proof follows alignment. Stop demanding signs. Signs chase those who are no longer looking for them. Choose ease over effort, trust over tension, and inner stillness over mental struggle. Relax, not as an escape, but as a declaration that you trust yourself, that you trust life, and that you understand this truth at last. Everything you desire arrives when you no longer block it with fear. Remain relaxed, remain certain, and watch how effortlessly life meets you where you already are.